My name is Dennis, that is my crime. It is also quite consistently my punishment. And welcome to yet another of our solo one-on-one Vampire the Masquerade V5 games. This is another episode of our Chicago by Night Chronicle, The Messquerade. So, before we begin and we induct our tonight's vampire into the world of darkness, we have a few show notes because this time I was prepared. I put the time and effort into getting this ready. So, first things first. The video intro that we have been using is named Symbols. It is by an individual who goes by the name of Smite or Flight over on YouTube. Strongly recommend you check out some of their stuff. They have a really nice Tomb of Annihilation intro as well, if you're interested in playing that particular campaign on YouTube at some point. The music that you are currently listening to is taken from the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines OST by Rick Schaefer, but it is brought to you through the miracle of Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sound. You can check them out on sirenscape.com. Any music and sound effects that are not from the Bloodlines OST are most likely done using the Super Siren subscription. You can check that out at sirenscape.com/subscriptions/3-Super Siren. So, other information. We are currently playing this game using the Foundry virtual tabletop with help of Forge hosting. You can use that over at forge-vtt.com. Forge, for those of you who don't know, is pretty much the first and only fully integrated turnkey high availability hosting solution for people wanting to run Foundry VTT games. And of course, if you don't know what Foundry is, where the heck have you been? It is beautiful system. A little bit of a learning curve, but when you get your head wrapped around it, Foundry has access to so many good things. For example, the system that we are using, this is the V5/H5 system by Rayji96. You can check that out at github.com/Ray RAYJ96/Foundry-V5. And of course, as you can see from the artwork, the visuals, and everything else, this and portions and materials from this stream are the trademarks and copyright of Paradox Interactive, and they are used with permission as part of the Dark Pack. I don't own the World of Darkness. I do not own the music. I do not own Vampire the Masquerade or anything else. So, be sure to check out worldofdarkness.com for more information. Most of the artwork, in fact pretty much all of the artwork, has been taken from the various books and PDFs that you can get both at renegadegamestudios.com and storytellersvault.com. I could go through the exact list, but nobody cares about that, so we might as well just get right into it. But before we induct our new person, who has yet to reveal themselves, we'll make them wait just a little bit longer. First of all, let's go with that fight or flight video, and welcome to Vampire the Messquerade. And we are back. Welcome, everyone, to the World of Darkness. But before we get back into the World of Darkness, just one thing I did actually mean to say before we begin. It is my hope, it is my plan, it is my intention to, in the coming months, which is probably going to be 2023 at this point, I am going to start running a few paid games over on various online services. The idea being that if you like what you see and you would like me to run a game for you, then there are going to be certain days where I will be running something. You can pay to join the table, and it's going to be a variety of systems. Could be D&D 5th edition, probably a lot of Vampire, and maybe a few other World of Darkness games, such as the 20th edition of Vampire, Werewolf, maybe even Mage, and a few other things. We're working on that, but most of it is going to be using the Foundry system, as we mentioned earlier, and prices and everything else are yet to be determined. In the meantime, if you look at the links at the bottom of the stream overlay here, you'll see the various socials, assuming Twitter will exist in 2 months or even 2 weeks. You can follow me there. There's the Instagram at Dennis Illustration. The Lunar Blaze Patreon is a little bit neglected. We have been a little bit behind with that one, but eventually that is the place to go if you want to maybe get a discount on a future game. However, I would say hold off for now because we're still in the process of moving things around. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But with all that having been said, I believe there's nothing else. So we can indeed return to the World of Darkness and to our new vampire. Would you actually, one thing I did forget to do, we've got far too many symbols on this board. Let's remove a few. And mysterious vampire, please make yourself known.
Welcome and hello, my friends. My name is Edward. I'm the guy with the wonderful symbol that is now in the center of the bar. I'm being portrayed by Dear Cork. Hello. As you can tell, I'm using a slightly different voice for the character, but that's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yes. So who exactly is Edward?
Well, to put it this way, Edward is what they call a Ventrue'd, which is the noblest of the vampire clans.
Born to rule.
Yes, I mean, we were the first. We will be the ones who control and direct, though sometimes we have to make compromises. We have to make do with the others. But Edward himself is a college professor near the city of Boston, in a small city that, strangely enough, is not only in England but also in New England. The city is called Manchester. It's not too far away from Boston.
So, above the table, because in part, this is going to be an introduction and a session 0. So we're going to be doing a little bit of in-character, out-of-character, as it progresses. This is more of a flexible, informal session. Remind us, what is your experience with the World of Darkness in general? Have you played in any of these games before? What kind of history do you have with this property?
The only experience that I have with the game system itself is very, very old, with the original Vampire the Masquerade game, which had crashed after the tutorial section, and I was drawn away to another realm, which, will possibly one day show up on this stream, if we ever go into D&D.
Oh, yes. So, for clarification, when you say Crash, so you're talking about one of the original PC games. Are we talking, was it Redemption or was it Bloodlines?
It was Redemption, actually.
Oh, yeah. I gotta admit, Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, not a lot of people play that. It's a very interesting game. Would recommend, especially since who knows, maybe one day there might be a re-release of that. We'll see. But anyway, just to get back on track. Edward is what is referred to, as you said, a Ventrue. You are one of the Big 13. Some would consider the Ventrue a little bit pretentious, but they wouldn't understand the burden of leadership that is thrust on you. You know, you didn't choose to lead, you were chosen. That's just the way of the Ventrue. Yeah? So, jumping back and forward a little bit, we are first of all going to bring things up to speed with the city of, as you said, the city of Boston. That is the main location where Edward, this handsome fellow, spends most of his nights. Now, rather than spend a large amount of time in this location, because we have a few different things that we want to do, I want to subject you to a few different things. So we're going to go through a little bit of discovery of who Edward is together. Now, you mentioned he's a college professor. What other interests, hobbies, or things that you think would define Edward for us?
Well, he is, as I said, he's a scholar, so he is kind of good at scholarly things, academic things.
Mm-hmm.
He has a focus on astrophysics, which is his main topic that he actually teaches at the community college, even though he is off task to do other stuff as well, because, let's face it, we have way too few teachers because we don't pay them enough.
And of course, he is somewhat burdened by the fact he has to work nights only, due to the fact that, I mean, surprising nobody, he's a vampire. So,
yes.
How did that come about? How did Edward first become one of the Kindred, as they refer to each other?
Well, that is a very strange story, because he got very well acquainted with the principal of this community college way back when he still had a pulse and did not have to pretend to have one. And yeah, the principal apparently got a little bit hungry and decided to have a nibble.
So this wasn't a long-term, recruitment. Well, if that's a question, do you see this as more as part of the final end of a long-term recruitment plan, or was this was Edward more of a how can we be more charitable and say a mistake?
Well, Edward was groomed, let's put it this way, to be a member of the Ventrue.
Mm-hmm.
Tutored and brought up. However, the principal's still there, so who knows what the future holds for Edward?
I do, and we're about to find out. Does it count as the future if it happens right now? But yes.
No, it does. Yes, it does count, but on the other hand, it doesn't count because look, he does not have temporal mechanics on his belt.
Temporal mechanics would be an entirely different World of Darkness game. I'm looking at you, Technocracy players. But anyway.
Then again, he does like his parlor tricks. is close-up magic.
Oh, so he likes a lot of sort of like stage magician or street magic, that kind of thing.
More the street magic, very up close, so he can get a scent of who's around and who might be interested in going backstage and discovering his secrets and, well, possibly even leave a little bit of a blood donation.
Okay. So, the scenario and things that have led Edward to where we are going to eventually meet him. You've been working in Boston for a considerable time now, both as a mortal and as a fairly low-rung member of the Ventrue. You were eventually approached, here's the thing. What was your subject again, specifically? What was your main subject, your field of expertise?
My field of expertise is astrophysics.
There we are, astrophysics. So, you wouldn't have been approached directly, but you did overhear one time one of the students who was working in one of the other third-party funded laboratories that shared a building with yours. And they were talking with their friends about a flesh sample that they had been given for testing. It was advertised to them as, a pig's trotter, no big deal, nothing too sinister over that. However, as they did a little bit of research, they were actually a student who knew what they were talking about. They were absolutely convinced this was human remains. And whenever they brought it up with the people in charge of their department, they were, rebuffed. And eventually, I would say, well, here's my question to you. Would that have grabbed Edward's interest immediately, or would he have just left that alone as not his problem?
Oh, he would have actually taken initiative in this regard and gone a little bit and investigated it. Okay.
Well, in that case, what we're going to do is I would like you to give me a... so it's not a straight check like it will be in D&D. What I would like you to do is, with your character sheet, I would like you to give me an investigation. And, well, here's the thing. How would you be investigating this? Would you be talking to other students? Would you be trying to speak to faculty members?
He would probably, as he picked up that student does not let that subject go. He would probably approach the student and start from that and then go through faculty and try to work through this using some of his contacts in the college to figure things out. So you might want to go with academics, maybe. Just a very maybe.
I would say this specific thing is not so much an academic issue. Well, actually, it could be. So that is the question. I mean, whichever role, a different role is going to give you different information.
All right, then I would go rather with the investigation.
Okay, so make that investigation and add your charisma, because you're the cool, hip teacher who's down with the students.
So, ability, charisma, no modifier. What's the difficulty, or is it a standard
I would
difficulty?
say difficulty for this one. We're just going to keep it at difficulty 2 for the moment.
All right.
First dice roll of the game. 2 successes. Yeah, you meet it, you beat it. Well done. So, the student would have explained that they were part of a particular... it was one of the... it's the Dunham Laboratory. The name Dunham somewhat rings a bit of a bell for you. as in they are apparently a connected kindred. You're not too sure what clan they're from, but several vampires throughout the city, and indeed the wider area, have their fingers in a lot of pies. So you would have tracked that name down. At least you've been able to connect enough of the dots to know that this individual was, the one funding this laboratory. My second question to you would be, what would you try to convince this student who is very passionate and wants to... They're basically trying to tell as many people as they can, but for the moment, nobody's listening. And given the fact that one of your own, or rather, another vampire rather than another Ventrue, one of your own is connected to this, you're not that naive enough or not that young enough to know that this girl is going to disappear very soon if she keeps this up. What would you do?
He is going to try to dissuade her by saying that he will take the matters into his own hands, and he will make certain that this is done through and through and through the proper authorities. Even though he definitely knows that he's going to have to ask someone to forge a report, basically stating that was a terrible, terrible mix-up.
So you are actively trying to shield this person. You're not letting them get run over by the speeding car hurtling towards them.
I have a personal belief that it is better to keep the cattle around when you take their milk, rather than take them to the slaughterhouse.
The choice of words there, and when you're again, the student, professor, and oh dear. But anyway, moving swiftly on from that. That would be the end. She would be most likely seeing either someone feeding on her till that juice packet is dry, or, as you said, just turned into mincemeat. Pretty much. For another medical student to look at. So, my question...
That leads to additional questions. That's a rat's tail.
No, that was a pinky finger. But anyway, I guess the next stage of the investigation would have been you would have made some, I'm assuming, some subtle inquiries into the person in question. Eventually, you would have, surprisingly enough, after about a day or so, you would have been approached by someone of not inconsiderable station in the city of Boston. It would not have been your sire, the principal. It would have actually been the Primogen of Boston. And for clarification, Primogen is the clan representative for the Ventrue, an individual by the name of Beryl Underwood, a vampire who's been around for a while, and he would have asked you to meet with him in a private establishment for a rather serious chat. During that conversation, I would say this, just before we go to that, give me one more roll, if you would be so kind. Let's see, what would this be? I would say give me a investigation and intelligence, if you'd be so kind. Difficulty of 3.
That is going to be tricky.
It's not impossible, though. Okay, that is 3 successes. So you actually succeed. Hey, you see, not impossible. Well done to you. So yeah, with that information, I would say before you head down there, you arm yourself with enough information to realize a couple of things. The laboratory that is running this whole experiment, they have a little bit of a paper trail, and if there's one thing Ventrue's good at, it's sniffing out the money. There was a process that you were in the middle of when you were called over, and it was leading you towards a series of disappearances in the region. Boston, or at least the area of Boston which you are familiar, has recently seen a dramatic downturn in terms of the homelessness, street prostitution, vagrancy, things like that. A lot less people around than there used to be, cluttering up the streets. It's with this insight, with 3 successes, when you get the call from literally the head Ventrue in the city, save for the prince themselves, I would say those 2 pieces of information probably imply that you might have stumbled onto something large. What would Edward's impressions or response to this situation be?
Well, if you put 2 and 2 together, that the disappearance of the homeless people, who he might have actually heard 1 or 2 of the homeless people who had been a little bit more fortunate in not being picked up by this relocation project. That some people have disappeared because, well, they've disappeared and they're no longer around. Nobody knows where they are. And the fact that apparently now their muscles appear, well, in med labs. Yeah, he's probably figured out that it's as I said, as I've strangely enough already used the term slaughterhouse, that something like akin to that is going on, and well, it seems the bigwigs are kind of calling the shots, given that I've been called in.
It would look like that. Sorry, it would look that way. So, it's not that much of a surprise then that in the as you're presented yourself to the representative of your family, the clan, your boss's boss, it's then that your boss's boss's boss walks into the room. Prince Hazel Iversan, the Prince of Boston, also known as the White Swan. The 2 other Ventrue, I would say in no uncertain terms, respectfully ask what you are doing, poking your nose into a very private and very important operation on behalf of the local Kindred of Boston. You are basically explained that the Prince, I'm so sorry, I just had a moment there. Prince Iversan has been working on building a new system for the Kindred of the city, a means of protecting the Messquerade so that no Kindred needs to risk feeding out in public. An initiative which will hopefully deal with a few other problems as well. Again, the whole homeless problem and, improving the general safety of the streets for all that matter anyway. The only downside is there are some people, specifically those in like the Anarch movement or those who take issue with, the cattle being treated like cattle. So as a result, they're not quite ready to go public, and your investigation is causing them concern. So my question, as a storyteller to you, is this. Given the nature of this enterprise, would Edward be wanting to buy in, or would he be against this?
As I've stated, one of his core moral beliefs is that it's better to keep the cattle around than to drain them too early. So, the way it is operating right now, with all due respect, sire, is not helping us in the long run. I do understand that these undesirables, as they're seen by the cattle, are also they are putting a bad spot on this beautiful city and its surroundings. But I think it would be more useful for us to make certain that the individuals that are picked up, relocated, are being held long term. Again, it is obviously not my position to tell you what you shall do.
You know, it really isn't.
I do understand, and I'm merely offering my thoughts. I'm not telling you what to do.
That's very wise. That's very wise indeed.
But the thing is, sire, if I may be so frank, if I'm able to find out about this as just a very, very small cog in our world, so those that might choose to harm us and our brethren could figure out as well. So it might be a good idea. Again.
Well, I suppose the first question is, how did you find out?
I had come across a few samples that had been floating around on campus, and unfortunately, someone was not very good at hiding their origin, apparently.
Dumb again, bloody Malkavian. Fine. Beryl, do you have this? And the Primogen speaks up. Of course, Majesty, I'll take care of everything. I appreciate your coming in. You have yourself a fine evening. She very coldly glances over to you, Edward, and takes a step forward and a very low, no uncertain terms, looks you in the eye. Just so we are clear, were you any other type of kindred than a member of our family? Were you not Ventrue? I would have had you staked and left out to see the sun, but that is not how we do things with family now, is it?
Yes, sir.
She straightens your tie a little, and she looks like she's about to say something about the sir remark, but she's like, just
man.
He just rolls her eyes and walks off. But yeah, Beryl, again, a lovely name for a gentleman. He represses a slight chuckle as he looks over to you. Well, dear boy, I do apologize about all this. You know how it is. Business is business, and, you know, the prince and I, we're fairly proud of this little enterprise. It's just not really ready to see the light of day is probably not the best turn of phrase for us now, is it?
It should not go public, I do understand that.
Yes. No, you know, here's the thing. Unfortunately, due to the awkward nature of this little faux pas, we're gonna have to ask you to, vacate the premises. By that I mean, Boston itself. Now, of course, as the prince has said, Ventrue to Ventrue, we're not going to, do anything untoward. Your assets, meager as they are, have already been liquidated and redistributed. We'll be providing you with a small stipend. Your apartment, your various materials have been reassigned. But we will be giving you a small cash sum, something to help you get by and get you resituated in your new home. Your sire, as it turns out, had a debt or two to pay to an old associate, and so we're going to be sending you as a means of paying off that debt. Have you ever been to Chicago, dear boy?
No, sir.
Oh, you're going to love it. The Windy City is a charming place. Of course, travel is going to be a little difficult. These days, you will find it's very tricky for Kindred to travel by air. So, I would say, from what I understand from your file and everything, you have a somewhat of an affection for a particular vehicle. Is that correct?
Are you talking about my Fort Maverick, sir?
Yes, a little car. Well, rest assured, we did not liquidate that. I mean, otherwise, how on earth would you get anywhere? No. We're leaving you the car and enough money, I think, at least for gas. Basic supplies to get you from one motel to the next. But I would recommend leaving very soon and not returning. The individual who will meet you in Chicago is, of course, another Ventrue, another blue blood. He goes by the name of Horatio Ballard. I want to say he was the former Primogen of Chicago for a while, at least. But he's maybe not these days, but I would say he's in a position to give you plenty of work, plenty of things to do.
Sir, if I may ask, is an audience with the Prince of Chicago already planned, then, so that I can properly introduce myself?
That is such a good question. Very good. I'm glad that you're keeping to protocol. Yes, of course, the Prince of Chicago is also a Ventrue, a younger gentleman by the name of Kevin Jackson. He's a child of the late lamented former Prince Loden. I think that would be arranged in time, but Ballard is the one to speak to about that. All those necessary arrangements are done through him. Of course, should Ballard give you any other instructions or whatever, then it would probably behoove you to follow them. You are his problem now, dear boy. The only prerequisite, of course, he leans forward and gives you a very, quote-unquote, friendly smile, showing his fangs, and puts his arm around your shoulder. You will not tell anybody about the things you have discovered here. That would be unfortunate.
I have no idea what you're talking about, sir. We just had a very nice chat about me being dispatched to Chicago. I have no idea what else you could be talking about.
Good man, good chap, very good chap. I'm glad to know that your sire sticking her neck out for you was not a waste. That would be unfortunate for her now, wouldn't it? Do take care of yourself, old chap, and have a lovely day. Farewell.
Thank you, sir. I bid you farewell as well.
So.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
You are somewhat unceremoniously escorted to you again. It's a bit surreal. Did you drive down here?
Yes, he would have taken his car down there.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, but as you're going down, you are checking whatever, let's say, if you have a cell phone, the Caramilla, the organization you're part of, would maybe consider it a little bit contraband, especially if it has things like a webcam or anything. But if you have any means of checking your accounts or anything as you're heading down, yes, you will find all but one are emptied. You have basically a tenth of your net worth remaining.
Oh, great. There goes my checking account, my savings account. My credit card is now overdrawn. Thank you very much. That's what I get for driving past an ATM.
So, before you leave Chicago, was there anything you would want to do there? Or I'm Chicago. Oh my God, Boston.
Leaving Chicago? We're already going back?
I know. Tell me about it. Time is weird. Time is a weird soup. But yes, would there have been any final things that you would have tried to do, or would you have left immediately?
He would. I mean, he had very, very strongly been told that he should probably turn tail and get the fuck out of Dodge. I mean, he is not an idiot, after all.
Very, very good to hear. So, I would say this then. To get to Chicago from Boston is going to take, dear Edward, a few days. So, in the meantime, what I'm going to ask you to do is, let's look at that character sheet of yours. I would say, let us have, would it be drive and composure, or would it be drive and, let's see, drive and stamina if you were trying to move very, very quickly?
Stamina would be more long hours. It's really tricky. It's in between the two.
Yeah.
So in order to keep up at the wheel, I would rather go with stamina, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. Difficulties for the moment is going to be of 1 because there's nothing majorly complicated going on, at least at the moment.
Yes, I still. At least they left the road map in the glove box.
Okay,
Ooh.
2 successes. Very good. Yeah. Don't worry. The little square, the little skull. That's only going to be a problem later. I suppose that's also something else we're going to need to get to as you travel across the road. You do realize that you are, as ever, a little bit hungry. You're always hungry.
Yeah.
There's always that slight gnawing feeling at the pit of your stomach. That urgent need. The need to feed. Also, bear with me one moment. I apologize for anybody listening on the stream. It seems that Sirenscape decided to get very pixelicious there. So let's just get back onto that. There we go. Hopefully that's going to clear that up. But yeah. As you're heading down, you realize you've not actually had a chance to eat. So how does Edward plan on feeding himself over the next few days on the road?
This is going to be very interesting because he has a few dietary needs.
Does he? Do tell.
Oh, unfortunately, he has been a Ventrue for long enough that well, he has a preferred taste, and anything else will well, if he drinks any other blood than the preferred type, it might turn him into a little bit of a fountain.
He might throw up.
Yes.
Okay, good to know. I would say this. I'm going to be kind and say that the rule for this is if you don't feed on a blonde, I'm not going to say you automatically throw up. I'm saying there are going to need to be rolls made in order to keep it down. But you can feed if you really need to.
Yeah, he would need to have a resolve and awareness test in order to figure out if someone possesses that feature.
Mm-hmm.
Though then again, he might try his luck with someone who might have been decided to dye their hair. And he is going to try to use his charm and his charisma and his slide parlor tricks to entice drunk women at certain inns that are on the road.
Okay, then. So, in that case...
Or if it's not a lady, then... if it's not a lady of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Or then, gentlemen will work as well, after all.
Okay, any port in a storm. So, that case, let's see. So, I would say this. There is one other thing on your sheet in terms of your preference. Again, it's not something where you absolutely have to do it this way, but you have a preference referred to as a Sandman, as in you prefer to feed on your victim when they are asleep.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Then again, as I said, alcohol, even though it removes inhibitions, it also makes people very drowsy and very, very, very tired.
This it does. So, rather than go through every single night, I would say you find yourself at a fairly basic, Roach Motel. At this point, it is getting close to very early in the morning. It is, say, we're talking about maybe 4 o'clock, getting close to 5. The sky is beginning to turn a slightly lighter shade. And you do feel that slight prickling at the back of your neck, that slight concern that danger is coming. The sun.
Okay.
So unfortunately, it's very unlikely you're going to find any working people this late. However, it is more than possible for you to find a few people going through, shall we say, the Walk of Shame. So, as you're driving around and trying to find a motel, give me I would say, let's call this, on your sheet, I'm going to give you awareness and wits. Difficulty of 3.
Awareness and wits.
Difficulty 3.
All right. Oh. Oh my!
So
I did not find anyone who was drunk enough to get in the car and trust me.
no, yeah. In fact, the
back.
way you say that, yes. So for clarification for the audience, that was a bestial failure. A bestial failure is when you fail at a cost. The sun is coming up soon, but you absolutely failed to get someone to get into the car. But this is how I'm going to rule it. I'm going to say that Edward is going to gain a point of hunger. So on your character sheet, you're going to need to, do that. Push that up to 2. Also, there is now, admittedly, a very, very drunk person, but there is a very scared blonde woman who is off, staggering off in the opposite direction of your car, trying to find someone because some crazy serial killer tried to drag her into his trunk.
Well,
the question to ask is Edward going to try and find a place near here to put his head down? Or are you going to try and stay on the road for as long as you can, find a back alley, and sleep in the trunk of your car?
I guess I better throw the send off of me. So, yeah, I might need to drive off a little bit further out of the city, maybe finding a back road or something.
Give me one final roll for this night then. That's going to be another drive, and I would say drive and composure as you're trying not to get caught. Difficulty of 3.
Don't say about that.
Ooh, that is 2 successes. 2 successes means it's a failure. So this is an interesting rule. What you have at the moment is you have a completely full, unabused set of willpower. What you can do is you can take a point of superficial willpower damage and you can re-roll up to 3 dice. All you need is 1 extra success. You don't have to do that. You could accept the dice as it goes and accept the consequences of what happens also.
No, we're going to go with the super... Whoops.
Yeah, no, you... Oh, dear.
Oops, so now everything's going a little bit awry. 1 second.
There we go. Yes, so just the dash. So the dash is a superficial point. So now I want you to... I would just say, let's see, just roll 3 d10s. Anything 6 or above is a success. 3 d10s.
1 second there.
Okay, and let's see. So, yeah, fortunately, you have the 1 dice that's a 6. That's the narrowest of narrow margins, but you do actually succeed in finding a nice little out of the way back alley. It's a near construction site. You're not too sure if anyone's been there for a bit, but you are basically you see the beginnings of that pink blue tinge to the sky as you pop the back of your trunk and you bundle yourself in for a somewhat uncomfortable day's sleep. Now, the next evening comes as all around you there is life, there is color, there are people, there is song, there is dance, there are seasons in the sun, and all those good things. Unfortunately, you are incapable of experiencing any of that because through the day, you're dead. Your heart doesn't beat. Your eyes do not open. There is no real dreaming or anything, at least this evening or this day. It is just emptiness. as the rest of the world floats by. Eventually, the darkness descends once more, the sun falls in the sky, and your blood begins to reanimate you. The vitae within your veins reactivates, and as with every single evening, you are going to need to give me a rouse check. So on your character sheet, give me a rouse check. That is a success. Luckily for you, you don't get any hungrier. However, you are still at 2 hunger, but any superficial willpower damage that you did take is now cleared off. So you are now at regular willpower once again.
Yes.
The next evening, this evening, as you're heading through, I would say at this point, you're going to find yourself, I don't have the exact map and distance on me, but I would say at some point through your series of days, you find yourself in the Anarch-controlled city of Indianapolis. It is probably the safest, despite them being not the Caramilla. Indianapolis is considered a fairly open location. It's a fairly safe middle ground. It's considered by many to be the crossroads of America. And as long as you play nice, then you are allowed to go through here. The thing about Indianapolis, though, for all of its talk about being a peaceful utopia where all kindred can get together and just relax and have a bite to eat, there is something that you notice on the way in. Give me an awareness and wits. Difficulty 2, if you'd be so kind.
An awareness and wits.
Classically, it's wits and awareness, but the way the system works, we have to do it in reverse.
Yes.
3 successes, yes. You're pretty sure that, I would say with 3 successes, at first you thought you saw some movement on the road. Again, you've been going through these roads for a while now, all through the night, and you're not alone on the road. There are others, but every now and then you just see something on the side, lurking in the shadows. Every now and then, it's almost like you catch a face in the distance, watching the car as it goes past.
Oh, great.
Fortunately, that seems to pass as you get into the city itself. The lights of Indianapolis are surprisingly welcome. I would say it's not going to be that difficult for you to get a real meal, so I'm going to say, unfortunately, I don't have artwork for Indianapolis set up. It's the one thing I didn't do. But for your hunting in the city, I would like you to give me a let's see. How would you like to go about this? What do you think would be the best thing?
Well, I think, as I said, maybe a little bit of using his magic tricks, slight magic performance to entice people and wanting to come back, as they say, backstage, or in this case, back alley.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. In that case, with your specialty at the bottom of your sheet, give me a roll for close-up magic and manipulation. I will also say the difficulty for this one is only going to be I would say it's only going to be a 2.
See him fail. The magic idiot.
We'll see. Anything's possible. That's a lot of dice. That's So I'm counting this as 7 successes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so describe to me your perfect feeding partner that catches your eye as you're performing and gets 7 freaking successes.
Well, I mean, he typically only goes he had to go most of the time for blonde students who are available for one-on-one discussions. Some of them wanted to get their grades raised. Well, they sometimes woke up with a little bit of a pang later on. Probably drunk a little bit too much. But he would be, I think in this case, what would he call that person again?
A creep.
I mean, no, that's him, in a sense. It would be a blonde-haired woman, fairly attractive, I would say. Though definitely not a woman that is very, very easy. But then again, she's supper. In a sense. So yes, it would be someone who might have had a little bit of a sip, a drink, a little bit of a buzz, and yeah, she has been enticed by his magic tricks, has been leaning in a little bit too close. Her perfume and obviously the scent of the blood have caused him to be very, very appealed, and he is going to show her a few more of his magic tricks, if you know what I mean. Well,
indeed. Okay.
Unfortunately, it was more like a bite to the neck and a little bit of a sip out of this very attractive, spinner, as you would call it, a petite, hot young woman.
I would say this, 7 successes, this is what happens. Instead of spending the evening in a motel, she is absolutely going to invite you back to her home. Her home that she shares with her blonde girlfriend. So,
ooh, double meal.
Indeed. I would say this as well. Yes, they're polyamorous. It's a whole thing. They like to share. You for whatever insane reason, you just tick all of their boxes. And of course, your natural, or should that be the unnatural presence of your abilities, your awe, if you will. It certainly doesn't hurt. And I love the fact you didn't even need to use it in this instance to get 7. I would say this, there's a little bit of extra here, information. When you are feeding on them, there is something very specific about their blood that catches you. There's a certain flavor to it that it's very rare that you get it. Their blood has a certain sanguine charm to it, has a very strong resonance. So I would like you to make a little note somewhere that for the foreseeable future, or at least until your next feeding, you have an extra dot to your presence abilities. So whenever you make an ability that uses them, you get to add 1 extra dot to those, or an extra dice.
Yes. Okay. Got that.
Also, while you prefer to feed on your partners when they are asleep, the thing with the vampire's bite and everything, it is deeply pleasurable to the vessel, to the cattle. And we will gloss over details for obvious reasons. Twitch, thank you very much. But I would say you are given safe haven through the day, They don't require much convincing. They don't ask too many questions, which seems a little bit surprising in retrospect until you are given their business card. Turns out, at least the one that you approached works for, a law firm. They do a little bit of, work. They do some long distance travel, and when they mention the fact that they sometimes work in Chicago, I'm assuming you're going to exchange details.
Indeed. I mean,
Okay.
It is always nice to reacquaint one with a friend made on the road.
The final question before you leave Indianapolis, although at this point, why would you ever leave?
Well, I've been sent somewhere, so I have to go.
Technically, at this point, you are a free agent. You could go anywhere and do anything. You are your own man. It's just, as you've been told many times, a vampire by themselves only gets so far. It's better to have help.
Yes.
But at least you do have the illusion of choice. You feel at least that you have the agency to, come back here should you ever wish to.
Well, but in the back of his mind, there's the order given to him from up on high that he has to go to Chicago.
So, you make your way back out of, the bright lights of Indianapolis, eventually leave. Oh, final question in regards to the two lovely blonde ladies. Now, are you, the player, familiar with the process of ghouling an individual?
No, and I think you would not think of that at this point anyway.
Okay.
So hello everyone.
Eddie.
I didn't realize that it was... my game's not till next week, right?
No, it's not yet. So this is just Cork's game today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Mind if I listen in?
Please do. You're more than welcome.
I said not at all. I mean, oh well.
Oh, I think...
Welcome back, T.
There we go. But yes, we will get back to that in just a sorry, 5 seconds. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, brain. 5 things happen at once there. Anyway, so we will leave the whole thing of ghouling for another day. But as you are heading out of Indianapolis, would you please give me another wits and awareness, if you would be so kind?
Wits and awareness.
Yes.
At what difficulty, please?
1.
Fairly simple.
That's a lot
You
of
said
dice.
it.
Oh, by the way, you can remove all but one of your hunger dice.
All but one.
Yeah, so basically,
hunger dice
the only
is always
way you will ever remove that last hunger dice is if you drain someone dry completely. End them. And as you said, that would be a bit of a waste.
Indeed.
So, one
That
success.
was a little bit complicated.
It is. It does get things a little awkward. But with one success was all you needed. As you are making your way down the road, you glance out of the corner, out of the rearview mirror, and you could have sworn that you saw another face. And then...
They're all the same fate. Oh. Okay.
And it takes you about half a second to realize that they are trying to keep pace with the car.
Oh.
You are the only vehicle on this road, and they are gaining. 5 of them.
Oh. Fuck.
8? That's not 15. would you please give me a... Let's see what we're going to make this roll. Let's make this a drive and composure. Difficulty of 4. As you are being chased out of this city by a... This is a 24 days later style scenario.
I have no idea who they are, but I better get going. Oh, shit.
Would you like to burn another willpower to get that one required success?
Indeed. I'm rolling 2 dice.
No, you can roll up to 3.
I already have 3. I already have 3 successes, so I'm not going to waste one of the successes, obviously.
Well, here's how it works. Unless I'm mistaken. Now, normally you would have only ever been able to get another 2 dice, but because you've burned a willpower, you can roll 3 dice.
I am going to re-roll the 2 non-successes.
Okay, fair enough. But, okay, yeah, then just roll the 2. Fair enough, see what happens.
2d10?
2d10. I might be getting that wrong. So one of those was a 7, so... Yeah, actually, both of those were successes, so that's 5 successes. You realize with horror, just before they impact with you, there were 3 of them that were charging straight at you from across the road ahead of you, but you're able to swerve and avoid them before they actually land on the roof of your car. And you put your pedal to the metal and you floor it. And eventually, one by one, your pursuers slip back into the shadows. So,
someone should tell them about this. It's going to be a little bit difficult for everyone to enjoy the city if those things threaten, well, all of us.
For clarification, you couldn't see much of the ones pursuing you because they were in the rear and they were kind of just on the edge of the light. The ones that were right in front of you as they charged at the vehicle, they were dressed in a variety of clothing, regular clothing for the most part. Just, it was ripped, it was torn, it was in tatters, smeared with blood, mud, all kinds of other things. But one of them looked like, I don't know, maybe a builder. One of them looked like someone who'd been going to a club. One of them was wearing a business suit. It was concerning, but the thing that you noticed clearly, they were all kindred. They were all vampires like you.
Okay.
But feral. Maddened.
Yeah.
Nothing but hunger.
Yeah, I think that might have been the one that I saw before I entered the city might be part of the, for lack of a better term, loose pack.
I would say this as well. You're pretty sure you saw more than one on the way into the city.
Yeah, looks like. Well, that might still become a problem for the anarchists when those groups grow.
But still, you survived, and your car doesn't have a scratch on her, so that's something.
At least my baby's safe. For now, says the player.
For now,
because he has also seen an image that you had posted somewhere.
No,
of a car of the same make, model, but it was a little bit, well, You could say it was more of a hot rod.
It was a little bit on fire. But yeah.
Yes.
So, you eventually get through the rest of this long dry fairly evening. You are very close now to entering Chicago proper. You've been heading through Indianapolis and you're moving north, west, up the main road. However, there is one place that you are going to have to stop before morning. As before, it is getting very, very early. We are getting close to the 3:30, 4:30 mark. 3:30, 4 o'clock mark. It is getting fairly... It's not as bright as it has been, but you are getting to the last of your journey, and you know that if you were to try to get to the city proper, it would be very, very dangerous for you. So, we find ourselves in your final stop, your final resting place for the day. This is a place... Yes. The, as far as the world of darkness is concerned, the ultimate cesspool of mankind. So, again, this is fiction. This, the world of darkness is a parody of the real world. It takes real world locations and real world names, but it does its own thing. Nothing we say about Gary, Indiana is factual, okay? This is just the fictional version, so apologies if there's anyone there who actually lives there or whatever. But yeah.
Are you apologizing to anyone who lives there?
Yes,
I mean,
because it's fucking scary.
They live there. They know how well or poorly the city has been represented. We await your comments in the comment section on YouTube if this VOD makes it there.
Woof. But anyway, so we find ourselves in the desolate, abandoned, garbage-filled streets of Gary. So, in regards to basic American history and everything, or at least in regards to the history of commerce, what do you think Edward would know about things such as, the steel industry and so on and so forth?
I mean, he's from New England, so he would remember the stuff that he had due to him being born at the during, or rather before the Second World War. Because yes, he's actually that old. If I'm not mistaken, he was born in 32.
Okay.
I would have to double check this again. So, but he has seen kind of the rise of the steel industry after World War II as a young human,
Fair enough.
that thing. So yeah, he would be aware of that, and obviously newspapers still reach him. Because he has to read newspapers and not necessarily rely on the internet after all.
Okay,
Tech ban.
Fair enough. So, I would say this. You've got at least the basic working knowledge that Gary was originally a bustling location many years ago in the steel industry before things fell apart, and it is now considered part of what is referred to as the Rust Belt of America. Places where the steel industry once thrived has now just died off completely, leaving Gary literally a shell of what it was, with very few jobs or prospects, at least compared to what it once had. That is the base level bit of information. As a Ventrue, though, over the years, you have heard at least a little bit more, because if there's one thing Ventrue love to do, it's talk business and show examples of what to do and what not to do in business. And Gary, Indiana is a prime example for Ventrue to have a polite little snicker over a glass of blood every now and then behind closed doors in a boardroom. What you are aware of is that some point in the past, the Prince of Gary, an individual by the name of Modius, I believe, had a bit of a vendetta, or a little bit of a rivalry, against the Prince of Chicago, named Lodin. Lodin did not appreciate Modius at all, and he went on a campaign of absolute destruction, not in terms of starting fires or actual direct violence, because that's not the Ventrue way. At least most nights it isn't. Modius was absolutely castrated financially. Gary lost all of its influence over a period of a decade or two, slowly whittled down, strangled, and dissected rather, piece by piece, all thanks to the influence of Chicago's Prince Lodin.
Yeah.
And today it remains as an example of why one does not fuck with a Ventrue. Modius, of course, not being a Ventrue, but in fact a Toreador.
Oh. Speaking of not fucking, there's a lot of interesting enterprises as I pass by. XXX live show? I don't know. Gosh darn it. Not even the dirtier parts of town usually look like this.
It is definitely you try to not be as gauche as all that usually. You at least try to have the air of magnanimousness when you're speaking about certain things. But yeah, no, seriously, this place sucks. It is so beneath you. It is ridiculous. You feel, it's almost like you're actually pretty certain that there's a certain like a muck or a grime just building up on the window of your vehicle.
Yeah, and I don't think I will get the stench of this city ever out of the seats.
However, unfortunately, it is in this city that you need to spend your final day here. So, before we get into that, I have a request for you.
Of course.
If I can actually open the full thing, because bear with me a moment. There we go. That's a problem. Yep, I apologize. Please bear with the storyteller one moment. I'm currently using one monitor for literally all of these windows, and because I can't pop anything out in Foundry at the moment, it is just making things that little bit extra difficult, so I do appreciate the patience. But yes, as you're going through Gary, I would like you to, let's see, there is a particular thing I would like you to do. Give me a wits and investigation at a difficulty of 4.
Wits and investigation at 4?
Yes, please.
Very well.
Okay, one moment, please. Again, I have to click.
That is a 3. That's a fail.
Okay, then. Fair enough. Fair enough. You spend.
And yes, I will take that result.
So, as you're driving around, I would say you don't really know much about the current political climate. Like most cities, as far as you're concerned, they all belong to the Caramilla one way or another. It's like all vampires are part of the Caramilla, really. It's just they don't know it, or they just don't want to admit it to themselves. But you do see there is a fairly large Anarch, or at least what you would assume to be an Anarch vibe to the place. You see several burning barrels, a couple of people, you know, hanging around them, eyeing the car as you go past. There's definitely a vibe of they're not going to be up this late at night if they were, shall we say, normal people. Although what is normal in Gary? Give me a... Now, what are we going to... I would say this. I'm not going to make you roll to find a motel. You do eventually find a place close to the other edge of the town. It's not too far out. But as you are making your way to the building, you would notice that a second car is slowly pulling up behind your parked one as you enter the building.
Oh, great.
Is there anything that you wish to do?
Edward will keep an eye out on that car for as long as possible before he has to, well, shut an eye and shut life for a while.
So, well, here's the question. You're about to enter the building. In order to keep an eye on the car, you need to stay outside.
Well, in that case, he's going to indulge in a little bit of an old human bad habit. He's going to try to grab a cigarette from a cigarette vending machine, if possible, pack of cigs, and light one up and just stand there, trying to be a little bit inconspicuous. He doesn't want them to know that he knows, in a sense.
Okay, we'll do that. So, in order to actually smoke the cigarette, you're going to need to... It's referred to as the blush of life. You would need to will your lungs to start functioning again. And that would require a rouse check.
Well, let's see what happens.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
You get just a little bit hungrier. But everything works fine. You are able to light the cigarette. Although I will say it's not so much a flinch, but whenever you light a match and you see that slight burst of flame, there is that tiny little voice at the back of your head that screams and hisses in fear. Because fire is bad. Fire kills. And you don't like fire. But you are the master of yourself. You're able to, tough it out. And again, you force your body, your undead flesh, to do what you want it to do. And so, you're able to smoke and relax languidly as you watch this car pull up directly behind yours. The windows are a little bit dirty. It looks like a fairly it's basically like a car from the 90s almost. The windows seem not so much like they're tinted, more that they are covered in, muck and dirt. You stay out there for a moment. Eventually. Yes. Okay, so allow me to relocate some tokens then. So, we're going to have Edward here. And then let us bring the occupants of this vehicle out to see you. The door eventually opens up and two individuals step out. One of them is a fairly clean-shaven, if scruffy-looking young man. Seems to be in his early to mid-20s. Pendant round his neck. So, like, looks at you with hooded eyes. Glances over to his associate, who is also stepping out of the vehicle. A bright, smiling woman in a red dress with a wicked smile. Hi there! We've come to talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Yes, it is a nice vehicle, isn't it?
It's a beaut. Mind if we have a little chat?
I don't think that a no will suffice, I presume.
Oh, he's smart. He's a smart boy, isn't he? She turns to a friend. He sort of nods. Very smart. But probably we shouldn't have a chat out here. Would you mind inviting us in?
Well, he opens the door and lets them into his room.
Okay. So, bear with me one moment while I get these two back up on screen. So, and let's get Edward back here. One more time. There we go. Really? Technology! Why do you betray me?
Edward doesn't want to go there because he can smell the trouble.
Yes.
Because I can smell the trouble.
And in this case, it is actually double. So,
It's not Team Rocket, though.
You don't know that. The slightly dour young man and the constantly smiling woman follow a couple of steps behind. They let you check in. Eventually, you get into the room, and the woman gives you a very, very toothy, fanged smile. Well, I suppose introductions are in order. I'm Silk, this is Odessa, and what's your name?
The name's George.
George, nice to meet you, George. I would like you to give me a, let me see, character sheet. Give me a second.
Composure performance?
Yes, actually, performance and composure is a very good idea for this. Difficulty of 3.
Because he has a fairly terrible idea that they want everything that's on him and his car.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, Georgie boy. Let's just come right out and say it. Who are you with?
No.
What team are you playing for, big boy?
What do you imply?
She very calmly pulls out a very, very big handgun, looks at it, looks at you, says, "No, sorry, one sec." Then she reaches again and pulls out a really big fucking wooden stake. Now, whose team are you on, son? We haven't got all day.
I know. Well, I'm not interested in taking the city, but I happen to be a Ventrue.
Okay, narrows it down, except doesn't really. I'm a Toreador. He's a Tremere, so if you try and do anything, he can burn you from the inside with his magic. Caramilla or Anarch? It's not difficult, son.
Free agent.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, that's not...
I am currently not aligned with the Camarilla, if that is what you're talking about.
Ooh. So my question to the player is,
No.
is Edward being serious about that in this regard, or is he just trying to make nice with what he assumes are a pair of Anarchs?
He is trying to make very, very nice. He is using he is trying to use all his charisma and then some that he might find somewhere in the couch that he's kind of forced to sit on.
Okay. Silk gives you the whole... See, the thing is, we really don't like poachers. This is a very... Gary's a very temperamental town, and we're not really in the mood for new people who can't be bothered to... Well, first of all, they can't be bothered to present themselves to our prince, and second of all, we don't really what's the word? We don't really appreciate people who don't like to take part. You know, independence. We don't like fence sitters. She gestures to the skate. For example, sitting on this is going to be very painful for you. But for clarification's sake, Odessa and me, we're with the Camarilla. We're a welcoming committee. And we just wanted to ask you a few questions.
Oh, very well. I mean, in that case, I'm not here to cause any trouble or anything. I think you can put that stake away.
Oh, I can do a lot of things with this stake. Putting him away is one of them, but I can do a lot of things with this stake. So how about you tell me what you're doing here?
I am just passing through.
Okay.
It's the daylight that kind of caught me before I could get to another city.
It is getting late, and you are on the outskirts, I'll give you that. Is he telling the truth? You see the gentleman, so like, he almost like kind of hunkers down, and he's giving you a very intense look. Doesn't really say anything except the slight, before Silk continues. Okay, fair enough. Well, welcome to Gary. I hope you've enjoyed your stay. Where are you coming from, and where are you going? Consider us border control.
Don't think that any deception would be of use. Looking to the young man.
He just sort of it's almost imperceptible. He just very slowly shakes his head and just unblinking, unbreathing, continues to stare at you.
So, I am coming from the region around Boston.
Ooh, exotic.
And I'm currently headed on a business venture to and he hesitates. You can hear the hesitation.
You can also hear the gun clicking.
Chicago.
Oh, very posh. Going up to the big city. Nice.
Trust me, it's not my own. It was not necessarily all my own intention.
Yeah, traveling the roads by yourself, that is a little bit of a daredevil. Say you look like a banker.
I'm a teacher, but I understand.
Oh, what's your subject? I love art.
I am an astrophysicist.
Boring. Okay.
Sorry, I'm no good with them. with a paintbrush.
Oh, you can do a lot with a paintbrush too, son. Trust me.
In the artistic department, I mean.
Oh, me too, but it depends on your definition of art. Okay, so you're making your way through town, heading off to the big city. Any particular reason you're doing this solo? Are you a courier? You do know that if you're traveling with sensitive cargo, you're supposed to present yourself to whoever's running the territory.
As I said, I've been sent in order to fulfill a debt by an associate of mine.
Oh, so it's a personal visit.
Yes.
Okay. Any weird fruits or vegetables?
No. Not that I know.
Any fun stories? Any interesting news? What's going on over in Boston?
Not much, really. I mean, I'm no bigwig there, so I can only give you very, very boring things about university life.
Wow, that's fascinating. You do realize we don't have like a Wikipedia of anything, you know? It's like we get news from people coming in, coming out. We trade stories. That's kind of how we keep in touch, you know? That's nothing interesting going on, really. Okay.
Not in my area, expertise, unfortunately.
No, okay, fair enough. I'm
the
assuming this guy's telling the truth. Sorry?
He's telling the truth. Well, the local blood bank had recently had a donation marathon, but that might be all that is very interesting to our kind.
I mean, what kind of donation are we talking?
Blood donation, obviously.
Okay, you're boring. And she just like turns to start leaving. The guy, he continues to watch you for a little bit before he slowly gets up and says, I would recommend you stay in the bathroom. The blinds in these places, they're not too good. More light filtering than room darkening.
Thank you for the advice.
Do be sure to leave in the evening.
Of course.
And I would say this, to be fair. Ignore my associate, she's a little temperamental. Gary's a little bit dangerous right now. And I would recommend that you don't linger too much. Prince Sharp, our boss, he's trying to deal with some of the Anarch trash, but they're giving us a bit of grief. They're getting a bit of help from Chicago, and if you are with the Storyteller's going to pause a moment. Now, you said that Edward identified as an independent, right?
That is correct.
I would strongly recommend that you get some better friends. We're always willing to take on people who are willing to get the job done in the Caramilla. If your little job in the big city doesn't go well, just present yourself to Prince Sharp. He'll get things taken care of, and I'm sure we can find a use for you. But do be careful. There's some very dangerous individuals coming around. Have you ever heard the name Sullivan Dane? For you, Cork, for Edward rather, I would say give me a history Let's see. Oh yeah, no, there isn't a history check on the sheet. Okay.
There is an awareness intelligence, maybe?
Yes, I would say awareness and intelligence. Difficulty of, I would say in this instance, it's a 4. It's a very esoteric piece of information.
I have no idea who that is.
Basically, it's a hunter. Someone, well, let's put it this way. If you're famous enough to be a named hunter, then they're not going to be fun to deal with.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Pardon my language, sir.
I don't care.
His voice has shifted, I've noticed.
What?
That's because he's freaking nervous.
Indeed. But yeah, Sullivan Dane is been sniffing around here. Some people think he's left. Personally, I wouldn't risk it. For Immortal, he's been a major problem for nearly years now. But we had, I would say he was responsible for a lot of the stuff that was going on thanks to Modius and everything about, say, call it 5-10 years ago? I don't know. I've not looked at a calendar in a while. But a lot of us went up in flames because of him. So Gary is not the safest place for an unaffiliated floating kindred to be in. So if you want to take care of yourself, A, join the Camarilla. We'll take care of you as long as you're a good boy, kiss the ring, do all the right things. We take care of our own. If you would be able to pass the message on to the big city of Chicago that we could do with a little bit of help dealing with the Anarch problem, that wouldn't go amiss either.
I will keep that in mind. I will see what I can do.
The biggest issue is the former prince, Toreador by the name of Modius, he was working with Dane, fed a bunch of kindred names to him, a bunch of his competitors in the Camarilla. And of course, once a hunter kills a couple of us, hey, they're done and they move away. Nope. Fucker's been around here for years now. It's all thanks to the ex-prince. So our boss, the new prince, Prince Sharp, he would appreciate any and all assistance from the big city in dealing with this problem. So you pass that message on, and I'm sure Prince Sharp would be appreciative. Just tell them Odessa sent you if you ever come back.
We'll do.
Good boy. Right, I think we're done here. And he turns to leave. Silk's been hanging around by the door, you know, playing with the stake. Just, you know, glancing over at you. Well, thank you for visiting. Do come back soon, but seriously, don't try sneaking through here again. Bad things are gonna happen if you do that.
Understood, ma'am.
Good boy. Nighty night. Enjoy. Make sure the sun don't bite. And the two individuals will vacate the premises.
Oh fucking shit.
So, given the fact that you are about to, I would say you have about half an hour before the sun comes up, and you are currently in the middle of a town where, yes, there is indeed at least one very dangerous hunter dwelling. Do you make any special arrangements in regards to how you're going to be spending your day sleep?
He is going to... I mean, the fact that he's already given a false name which definitely did not track because he was. If he was human, he would have been white as a sheet. You could have seen right through him.
I can confirm normally you are white as a sheet, being that you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. His attempt at deception was not that great.
Full disclosure, actually, since you activated the Blush of Life, Edward does actually seem a lot more like a normal breathing person. Every now and then you blink, you have the whole up and down thing, and again, of course, you were smoking the whole time. But your masquerade was nearly flawless.
Yeah, and also his bowel movements are working now because he's shitting himself.
Indeed.
Well, metaphorically speaking, obviously only.
But to clarify, does Edward have any particular plans on how to... any special arrangements on safeguarding himself through the day?
He is, first of all, making certain that the front door of his room is locked, and he puts a chair under it in order to make certain that it is at least made very, very difficult to enter the room unannounced. Okay. And he's going to sleep in the bathroom. In the bathroom, with the bath being filled to a degree.
Really?
So yes, he's going to try to sneak the situation. If he's found, people might think, okay, he's just dead because he drowned in his bathtub.
I gotta admit, I kind of like your thinking there. That's not a terrible idea. Okay. Just for the fun of it, what am I gonna make you roll for this? Not that you need to roll anything. No. Go call it performance and composure. No difficulty. I just want to see what happens. Performance and composure. That's a lot of dice. That is 6 successes. Okay. The sun comes up as you go down, and your lifeless, inert form sinks to the bottom of the tub, and you are taken by nothing. The emptiness. As around you, the city of Gary goes through its usual motions of life, of energy, gun crime, mine of tire fire somewhere. Again, sorry, Gary. You are not disturbed, fortunately. You wake as the sun sets. Your vitae begins to quicken and pulse. Your form reactivates. You give me a rouse check, and you get hungrier. So, you will be able to get into Chicago reasonably easy within this evening. But the question is, are you going to eat now or eat when you get there? How hungry is Edward right now?
Fairly hungry. He's getting a little bit of an edge to his voice because, he's getting hungry.
Yes.
And when he's getting hungry, he gets a little bit growlier. I don't know why. It's just a thing.
Interesting.
That I just came up with.
Well, I would say this. We can do that. That's absolutely fine. There is one other thing that I wanted to ask. Your sire, the voice of the person that made you. What kind of personality does your sire have?
Well, that sire is very, very, you could say, lust-driven. Unfortunately.
Okay, I gotcha.
In the sense that the sensation of feeding is something that they indulge in.
Yes. So,
Has been a little bit of it has been a little bit of a topic of discussion because of the different views.
I see. In that case, as you aroused at the beginning of the evening, you just have this hunger at the back of your throat and this sensation, this whisper at the back of your mind, the voice of your sire saying, "Darling, why did you leave Indianapolis? Those girls were too precious. Should go back right now and just take them both. It was too much fun."
Fulfill my duty.
Oh, fuck the duty. Feed, enjoy yourself. You only live twice. I'm hungry. We should eat someone. Someone delicious and blonde. this is a voice that you deal with fairly often when you are hungry. It's not so much a actual communicable voice that you speak to out loud to. It's more that little feeling in the back of your head.
Yes,
Intrusive thoughts.
That little voice in the mind that tells you to do stupid things. or smart
Delicious things, wonderful
In this
things that will
case.
make you feel better. I want my boy to feel better. But yeah,
Edward pulls himself out of the bathroom slowly. Yeah, more looking like a dripping ghoul, basically.
I would assume I'm assuming that you got changed before you went in the bath.
Yes, but still, he is currently stumbling into the main room, into the front room, and I understand that I must feed. But we cannot abandon what I've been asked to.
You are in a room by yourself. What would you like to do? Do you want to feed yourself before you leave, Gary, or do you want to just get the hell out of here and get to Chicago?
He is going to try to convince himself to get to Chicago instead of giving into the hunger right now and having a snack on the go.
Very good. Okay, so we are going to get ourselves back onto the road. And in that case, I am going to have you give me a... Let's see. Give me another... Let's call this a drive and... Let's say resolve. Drive and resolve. Difficulty of 3 to get to Chicago in one piece. With no further incidents.
Oh. That's
2 successes. So, the question, would you care for that bit of willpower damage? 1 willpower
yes,
for some extra dice? Doesn't seem too big a price to pay yet, does it?
Yes. I mean, he regained his willpower after the nap. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So yeah, he's going to burn a temporary willpower
Mm-hmm.
to get, let's say, 2 dice. I like to play it risky.
Okay, yes. There we go. At least one of them was a 7. Yeah. It's 3 successes. Yeah. The road into Chicago, and I will actually switch the Sirenscape to another scene because I've realized we've had the same one on for several scenes now. My apologies. It takes you...
He's listening to NPR on the road.
Oof.
And the late night programming might sometimes sound like it, especially if you were to tune in through the satellite into the New Mexico programming. Also, I've heard. They used to have a very, very experimental show, apparently.
My question then, as you're heading down the road, does he actually speak? What languages does he speak?
He speaks, if I'm not entirely mistaken, he speaks fluently, obviously English.
Mm-hmm.
And he also speaks Latin.
Okay. Oh, classical Latin, not like...
Classical Latin. I mean, he could probably understand the Pope if he spoke Latin, but no, he does not speak Latin American languages. He does not speak Spanish.
That's all I needed to know. Okay. Then you're not going to understand what's going on the news then on the foreign language channel. Fair enough, but I would say it takes you the better part of the night, but eventually you see the familiar skyline of...
not familiar for him.
Well, recognizable. We'll call it the recognizable skyline of the city of Chicago.
Need to eat. Damn it.
Now,
diner, great. I need something a little bit fresher.
Now, you have been instructed, you've been given the address of Ballard Industries, the location where your new patron, potentially owner, dwells. You could head there straight away. I would say this, as a Ventrue, you are accustomed to a certain type of interaction, Ventrue to Ventrue. You can assume that you would be at least given some offer of refreshment, unless your new employer wants to make a point as to who is in charge. Or you could try and get a snack before in a new city that you don't know anything about, and risk a similar issue to the one you just had in Gary, Indiana.
I guess I better make my way.
Okay.
To my new superior.
Okay. So, eventually, you find your way into the, I would say, this location. You actually go through the main heart of Chicago, the Loop, the various, you see the infamous L train, the various roads. I'll actually bring up a few of those because I can do that. Let me see. Done. Don't make me a lie again. Here we go. So, you see... You don't see that. But the various roads and streets that are bisected or, straddled by the L train, the elevated rail system that heads through most of Chicago. It's one of the most iconic parts of the city. You pass through various locations as you go further and further north, past the city center, and through to I wouldn't say the city limits, because Chicago is a massive location, but you definitely do go through various districts, including the heart of it, the business section, before you go more towards not so much the outskirts, but more industrial locations, before eventually you find yourself outside of a large steel grey building. Now, let me get this one set up. Okay, so You see the signage outside advertising itself as Ballard Industries. It is, I would say we're close to like 1, 2 in the morning. There seems to be a skeleton crew at the moment. The lobby appears to be open. There are security guards there. And let me get Edward over here. There we go. There we are. So, there is a small visitors area, a garage where you can park your car that is open 24 hours before you make your way into the location proper. Is there anything you wish to do before entering the lobby?
He straightens himself out, trying to make himself as presentable as possible, trying to get that growl under control. I mean, first impressions and all. Goes through his hair and tries to make himself as presentable as possible. Takes the equivalent of a deep breath because shit's getting real.
And you also don't breathe.
Yes, as I said, the equivalent of that. So a mental deep breath. And yeah, he steps into the lobby.
Okay.
I mean, he's locked his car after all. What else could he do with that? He's not got much but the things that he has on him.
Yeah. You pass through the various security points. You present yourself to the reception. I would say this. I would say you mentioned that you're expected, at least in some regard.
Yes.
Bear with me 1 second. Eventually, a woman is going to. I just need to get one bit of information there. 1 moment, sorry.
Don't you worry about it.
Okay, there we go. So, eventually, I wouldn't say you're made to wait a great deal of time. And I will say this. Most of the people in this foyer, they are breathing. You can tell that these are not Kindred. If they are Kindred, then their Messquerade is immense. They are very talented at hiding who they are. But eventually, you hear the click, click, click of heels as a woman walks down the aisle towards you. She's wearing a fairly, I would say, smart casual business suit, wide open necked outfit. Bear with me 1 moment while I scream my head off and smash Sirenscape. Sorry. One monitor for everything, and some of the stuff is acting up a little bit. So.
And that, even though you've spread it out over multiple browsers.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just it was so pixelated. Like the audio was just so garbled. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Give us 1 second and let me try and get that back. And if it doesn't work, I'll just kill the audio for a bit. But anyway, this woman makes her way down. Fairly strong appearance to her. Not the sort of outfit you would see in a regular board meeting or anything. Very stern, very confident looking woman. Dark red hair. She looks over to you with, I would say she also has, her features are somewhat Grecian. She has a certain European, almost like a Greek quality to her. She looks over to you. Mhm.
Edward thinks to himself, gosh darn it, he reminds me of my old headmistress. Way back when.
There is that vibe. There is a certain vibe to her. And she looks past her nose, not in an offensive way, but simply just her bearing. Looks to you. Mr. DuChamp, is that correct?
That is correct, ma'am.
Wonderful. Please come with me. I am Selena. Mr. Ballard will be seeing you shortly. He is with another client of his at the moment.
Thank you very much.
She leads you down a long corridor. She swipes her badge against another checkpoint. From this point on, as these doors close behind you and you're in an elevator, you notice that she is breathing. You see a slight pulse in her very exposed neck, but there is nobody else past this point. You're taken down a series of corridors, no windows, very nicely, I would say, expensive looking, but also very heavy duty looking doors. You've kind of gone past the, the glass. Like downstairs, everything was sort of like more open plan, and there was a lot of glass and steel. Here, it's more, more steel and steel.
Oh, more steel and steel. Okay.
Yes. But look, sure, and I would say actually, I will change that. There's more like a lot of like black leather. A lot of this is a very sort of like black marble. A lot of black and steel seems to be the general aesthetics of this location. So,
Bank Vault meets Las Vegas Casino.
Pretty much, yes. And every now and then there's a slight highlight of gold. For example, there's like a gold vein in the marble, that kind of thing. But eventually you are led to a very large waiting room and a series of very comfy leather couches. And I apologize to the audience and everything, but I'm going to have to kill Sirenscape for now. For whatever reason, the audio is absolutely awful, and I don't want to subject anyone else to that. So, we will continue sans music, because thanks, Sirenscape. But anyway, she turns to look at you and says, my apologies, Mr. Ballard will not be too much longer. My name is Selena. Do you require refreshment?
If you had a tall blonde, that would be very, very appreciated.
Blonde, of course. Male or female?
Oh,
or both?
I am not a picky eater.
Understandable. Any other preferences?
I do not wish to put too much.
Not at all. Mr. Ballard wishes to make sure that you are very comfortable. Do you have any preferences?
I do like them a little bit on the younger side. Don't like them going grey.
Very well. Yes, we can manage that. Is that be all?
Yes, thank you very much.
Please remain here for one moment. And she is going to hear the click of her heels as she makes her way down the hall. Echoes for a good minute or two. I would say you're only left waiting there for about 3 minutes before you are joined by a young man. He looks to be he's an office worker of some description. Looks like the type that they wear the shirt but they don't have a jacket on. Someone who's like working in the back room and everything. He says, was it Mr. DuChamp?
Yes, that would be me.
Hello there. I'm my name's Wilson. I'm, one of the. I work for Mr. Ballard. I was told you required a donation, some assistance.
Yes. If it is not too much of a bother.
No, I'm absolutely here to be of assistance, and it's like he's like pulling up the sleeve of his arm a little bit. Is there anything specific you would like me to do for you, sir?
No. I just want to make certain that you are in agreement with this.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that's my job. That's what I'm here for. Gives you that very nervous, like, no, I am absolutely consenting to this. I am absolutely happy about everything that's going on in my life in this company right now. That's the basic energy you get from him.
Oh, great.
Hmm.
Well then, just take a seat. I will not take too much of your time.
Not at all, sir. Help yourself. And he presents his wrist to you. How much do you take?
Well, he is going to take enough to be satiated, but not. He's definitely not draining him.
Oh,
Even though there is a part of him that says, you know what, you could just end him. They wouldn't mind.
I would say you do get the voice of your sire suggesting that very thing. Oh, he's easily replaceable. Could get 10 of them.
No. In his mind, he responds with a sharp no.
But anyway, you feed, you recover. I would say you basically are able to clear off all but one hunger. The gentleman looks.
All but one?
All but one. The only way to get rid of that last one, you know what you have to do.
Yeah, no. I'm not emptying this juice box.
He does seem a little bit woozy, a little bit run down, because you took, I believe, 2 from him?
Yes.
Yes. So he does. He does seem to have a little bit of trouble standing up. It's like, well, I better get back to work. Was there anything else I could do for you, sir?
No, but I thank you very much for your contribution.
You have a good night. And if Mr. Ballard asks, if you wouldn't mind, giving. Actually, yeah, best. No.
I will let him know that you did a good job. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate you, sir. Have a good day, sir. And he very nervously and slightly wobbly heads back to wherever he came from. After a minute, Selena returns and says, "Was everything to your satisfaction, sir?"
Indeed. That young gentleman was doing a very, very good job at what he was doing.
I see. You were satisfied with his performance?
Very much so.
I'll add that to his next review. Very well. Please, do follow me. Mr. Ballard is almost finished with his client. And she leads you to another set of doors. As you...
He does love double doors, it seems.
Well, who doesn't? Yeah, I think it makes the right impression. Do you not agree? And she gestures to the massive area, lightless, pretty much. There's only like small, very expensive-looking lamps giving off a soft ambient light. The whole area reeks of a wide, dark, rich ambience. All designed to make you, the individual, feel incredibly small and unimportant.
Indeed, it is very, very, very impressive.
Mr. Ballard, I'm sure, will be glad to hear this. As she knocks on the door and steps in, at the end of this large room, you see this large... there is actually a window in here. You're in what appears to be the penthouse suite. There are two individuals having a conversation. Fairly animated and jovial seeming conversation. One of them is a gigantic man, a large individual who seems to be squeezed into a incredibly expensive looking suit. You see the remains of what appears to be a series of plates of a meal being tidied away by several individuals in like a waiter's outfit. They're currently wheeling what appears to be like, seems like there was a 5-course banquet or something. You also glance and you're pretty sure you saw like several mops and a bucket, and I would say this, given your vampiric nature, you definitely smell a very strong sense of blood in the air. So you're not too sure what kind of meal you've just missed, but something seems to have been going on here. But what you do see is the large individual there, and the young girl, the very young girl he's having a conversation with. She's basically not sat on a chair. She's just perched on the edge of the table, feet kicking, just, chatting and, having a laugh. As you get closer, you realize one thing. First of all, she is, I would say, in her late teens, early 20s. She has dyed hair, patches of strong black and bright, vibrant red. The other thing you notice is half of her face is just not there. You're not too sure if that's just flesh, worms. It is haunting. It is one of the most revolting, hideous, nightmarish things you have just seen. And they're just having a very jovial, polite conversation. She's like, "Oh man, Mr. B, you are great. I gotta tell you, I really appreciate you inviting me out like this. You gotta do it again. Always a pleasure having a chat with you, sir." Thank you, my darlings. You brightened up this dreary halls. I always welcome any time. Then he glances over. DuChamp, please come this way. What do you do?
He slowly approaches, keeping a respectable distance to the rather large gentleman.
Yes, please come, sit down. This is Gabriella. Gabriella was just leaving, but she is one of my clients. Very, very famous young lady on the the TikTok app is called TikTok, Valley. It's TikTok. Come on, we went through this. Yes, the TikTok. But yes, if you wouldn't mind, my dear, Edward and I have a few things to discuss. Oh my god, wait, you're a vampire and your name's Edward. Holy shit. Oh, that is just too perfect. Oh my gosh.
I do have seen the movies, and I think, well, the sparkling is definitely overrated.
I know, tell me about it. I sparkle all the time regardless. But anyway, you, see you later, Ballet. Oh, you have yourself a good night. And, I'll just be outside. So, and she looks to him. So, this is the guy you're on about? He's like, yes, of course. Okay, no problem. See you in a bit. And she is going to head outside. See Serena? I'm sorry, Selena. Selena opens the door for her and glances over to Mr. Ballard. If you would give Gabriella a little company for a while, Edward and I have some things to discuss. Private matters, my dear. Of course, whatever you desire. And she closes the door behind her, and there is a slight click that echoes throughout the empty room, with you at one end of the table and this very large individual staring at you. Please, dear boy, come closer. I'm not going to eat you or anything.
Of course, sir. And Edward steps closer.
So, that oily little prick back in Boston said you were coming. Had a little bit of, wouldn't give me details, but said there was a bit of trouble. How is Winifred, your sire?
Oh, they're very well.
Good, delightful girl. I've not heard from her for ages. Apparently, she said that you are her way of paying off a little debt, a little favor that the two of us had back in the day. I just wanted to confirm that that was correct.
That is most accurate, sir.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the firm, old boy. Ventrue to Ventrue, of course. You know how things are. I'm not going to pry too much into your previous life. You can consider whatever happened back in Boston water under the bridge. It's a fresh start, old chap, a new era. And I'm glad that you are with Ballard Industries. Together, I'm sure we'll do wonderful things, old chap.
Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to working with you.
So tell me, what is your skill set? What is it that you can do? Winnie was a little vague on your CV. Now, I do see that you masqueraded as a lecturer in terms of the stars and everything, astrology. Much money in that?
Yes. No, it's more astronomy, looking at the stars and trying to figure out why they are the way they are. But I do have a few minor hobbies, if they would be of more use, as I'm not the worst amateur magician.
Oh.
You know those parlor tricks that the breathing people love so much.
Oh, so when you say magic, you don't mean like the Tremere. You don't mean actual magic. Just
No, the parlor tricks that still amaze the living. I mean, the cattle, whatever you like.
I see.
Refer to them.
Kine. We prefer kine here because, it means cattle, but most people don't know what it means, unfortunately. Yeah. Terrible education in this country, you know. But yes, of course.
You tell me about this. You would not believe what some people have said back in Boston. They do have the weirdest ideas. They think that they can be what did they call that again? A YouTuber. I don't know.
I have to admit I'm a little long in the fang. I'm no spring chicken or anything. Well, most of us aren't. But Gabriella, the lovely young thing you just saw me with earlier, well, she is She is what's referred to as, I believe, a VTuber. It's the same thing. She's an influencer. She has an audience. She uses these devices and she creates all this media and content, and her followers love her, adore her. Now, as you saw by her appearance, tragically, the poor girl was brought into our world in one of the worst ways possible. Nosferatu. She was unfortunately marked in a particular way, and so now she has to, she can't reveal her face anymore to the public, but she still makes quite an interesting impression on the youth. I've been trying to break into more current technologies of late, and Gabriella is one such investment that I hope is going to pay off. I wouldn't mind you assisting me in acquiring a few others, in fact, if you are able to do so, of course.
I am in your duty, I'm in your servitude, so I will do as you are.
I mean, yes, you are. You really are. But no, I'm not some ogre or anything. No, we are Ventrue. I'm reasonable. We trade. So, I think that to begin, let me give you a brief lay of the land with how things are going in the city of Chicago. Prince Jackson is, how best to describe our current prince? He was not my first choice, but I'm accepting of a brother of mine as prince of this city. We share the same sire. I, like him, was sired by the dearly lamented and missed Prince Loden. We share a grand heritage as Ventrue. Jackson is a more modern-minded Ventrue. He has his finger on the pulse. Many people underestimate him because of his beginnings, a street thug, gangster, but our sire saw potential in him, and that potential has indeed paid off in recent times. Jackson is someone I would like to stay on good terms with. Unfortunately, you find me in a bit of what is the term? I would say recent years I have unfortunately been on the outs with the inner circle. Another Ventrue, normally Ventrue, some wormy, weaselly, ingrate, an ungrateful little shit has replaced me as Primogen of our clan in the city, my own child. A wormy, weasel-faced little turd by the name of, and this is where the storyteller completely blanks, oh my gosh. It's not Horatio Ballard, that's the person we're talking to. It's Sovereign. Sovereign, the weasel. Alan fucking Sovereign. I gave the boy everything. I gave him literally immortality itself. And what does he do with it? He uses it to stab me in the fucking back, replace me, and leave me to wallow. Well, my dear Edward, together I think we can do great things. One of which, a little fringe, a little something I would like you to work with me on in the future, is I want you to integrate with the Caramilla. I want you to get situated with the city, the inner workings of the family, and I want you to find out as much as you can about my dear child. Find out any weaknesses, any little secrets the little worm has been keeping, and I would like you to report to me on them. I want to destroy him, Edward. I want to fucking ruin him. Now,
I understand, sir.
we, Ventrue, even when we are at war, even when we are enemies or, we disagree on things, we at least have civility. You yourself, I don't know the exact details, but I know enough to know that you stuck your nose where it didn't belong, or you got in over your head, whatever the story is, and you got a slap on the wrist, a golden handshake, and a push out the door. But you were not staked. You were not murdered, left to the sun. Because we are Ventrue, that's not what we do. When one of us rises, we all rise. That's the way it works. With Sovereign, that's not going to happen. This is off the books. The Directorate is not going to find out about this. I want him dead. If you help me with this, you will find me a very grateful person.
Well, I would have a few, to be honest, I would have a few places in mind that would be interesting for him to take a visit.
Really?
But yes, as I have passed through the city of Indiana, it seems that they have, on the outskirts, quite the problem with rabid vampires, the feral kind.
Interesting. I'd heard a rumor about Indianapolis. Excuse me.
And it would be very, very befitting to be torn apart for someone who tears apart the clan inside, to be torn apart by ferals. Would you not agree?
A little bit of a trek to get him away from his center of power, but it's, maybe one night he stumbles into the back of an unmarked vehicle and he gets dumped there. Who knows? Something to think about. But yes. Well, I'm glad you got here in one piece. I'm so sorry that you had to go through all that ordeal, but you are home now. Welcome, my dear boy. Welcome, welcome. So, while you have come here to me, I would like it to be clear that what I want of you is to continue to perform for me, further my interest, but I would appreciate it if you would be able to do that under the table. Pretend we do not know each other. You see,
you're asking me for subterfuge, I understand.
Good boy. As I say, my child has made things a little bit difficult for me, so having a man on the inside would, especially a fresh face, would be very useful. I've made some arrangements, but there are one or two possible covers that we can use to have you presented to the city proper. Have you meet with Prince Jackson and, make things all nice and formal.
Very well, sir. I had a little bit of an incident on the way in, after all.
Yes.
Back in that guy called Gary.
Gary, yes. Oh dear. Oh, do tell.
It seems like on one hand, maybe we come to think of it, maybe we could use their current despair of the despair of their prince to our benefit as well.
You're speaking my language.
They seem to be having a little bit of an anarchist problem.
Ah, aren't we all? The Anarchs are everywhere.
Yes, the Anarchs seem to be a very big problem for the
Hmm.
Prince of Gary, and who knows, maybe both cities could benefit from turning that sty into a decent place at least.
Hmm. Well, it was my sire that turned it into a sty, to be fair.
Yes,
Uh,
but they now have a different prince, so maybe one could work to change the future of that place.
I like where you're going with that. That might be. I will add that to the list. Interesting. Do you have a point of contact? Someone I can research, investigate?
Um, I actually have not jotted down the name,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
The name of the Tremere, the Tremere, the gentleman was named Odessa. The woman, the Toreador, was named Silk.
I had been told that if I come back into Gary, that if I should present myself, I should say that Odessa sent me, or that
Interesting.
I come from him.
I will have someone look into that. Thank you. That's new information. But in the meantime, that is a tomorrow problem. Tonight, I am focused on new technology, the future of kindred connections. Now, have you ever heard of ride sharing?
Right? Yes. It's a bit like taking a taxi with a stranger, I believe.
Indeed, indeed. They've been very useful of late. Now, of course, you had your own little issues coming into the city. Imagine if we had a far more organized system where kindred could travel from city to city with relative ease. Now, we have some couriers, outsiders, some who have no even work in similar regards, but something a little more local. Imagine a taxi service just for kindred.
You mean what did they call that? They called it something German, I believe. Uber, something like that, but for vampire
Indeed.
for our kin.
Indeed, something along those lines. Of course, money is something of use, but I think the trading of favors would be far more beneficial to us. A minor boon to get you from one end of the city to another. I think that's pretty reasonable. Something I'm working on, but other particular things I'm looking into. Technology, I believe, is the future. Have you ever heard of ShrekNet?
I'm sorry.
It was a service that Nosferatu had. Unfortunately, in the early 90s, I say early 90s, it was the early 2000s, it was compromised. Basically, it was an online system, the computers that had information on kindred, but it was supposedly protected from scrutiny by the mortals. I believe a little bit of Tremere magic was involved as well, but for whatever reason, it worked until it didn't.
If I may speak freely, sir, I
Mm-hmm.
do think that the ban on technology that has been imposed on us is not to our benefit because we don't have the tools available that those who seek us harm use. The living hunters.
Quite so, dear boy, quite so. So, I'm looking into the potential for resurrecting, well, if not resurrecting the original ShrekNet, trying to make a more localized Shrek-lite system. Just something for the city itself, or at least those those of influence within the city.
Well, there's this bird thing, Twitter, I believe, or no, Twitter. Twitter. That's what it's called.
I
That the
have a
young
sneaking
ones- the young
suspicion
people
that won't
tweet.
be a factor for much longer, but moving on.
And then there's this. Well, it always sounds like it's the Necronomicon, but they call it Facebook, though apparently it's only used by old people.
No, I believe a rival corporation have their money in that Pentex or something. I don't know for certain. I've tried to avoid that. But that's one of the reasons I have Gabriella. I would like you to assist me in reaching out to, there's an individual who I have reason to believe was instrumental in the early days of ShrekNet. A young Nosferatu living, well, I say young, living somewhere within the city. Individual by the name of Milton. I would appreciate it if you were to track him down. I have reason to believe that he was last seen in the company of all things, a Banu Hakim. An outsider, someone who's only recently joined with the Camarilla, but an individual who lives to the north of the city, an individual by the name of Grigory Syracuse.
Question.
Yeah.
Given that he is in the New England area, and that is a fairly old part of the United States, and they might have a lot more older literature, which might not necessarily get shared through the library system further to the west. Could it be that that Edward has at least heard of this somewhat mythical, by some accounts, vampire? That definitely does not sound like Seth.
See, that's a question there. How famous does a vampire want to be? Because that's, yeah. Although, yeah, as we said in the backstory, Grigori got around a bit. I would say that's going to be a bit of a hard role. Make me a, I would say academics and intelligence, difficulty of 6. No, difficulty of 5.
All right. Almost rolled at the difficulty of 8 there.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I have no idea who that could be.
Yes. He's a fairly reclusive kindred. Apparently he spends a lot of his time sleeping, like every 10 years or so. He just dozes off.
Well, I just hope that he's not taking a nap currently.
No, he's up and about. Because the Banu Hakim recently joined the Camarilla, they reached out to him and helped, he's been helping them with getting situated into the city's inner workings. Though I believe he was originally from France. He's quite slow. He's one of the older kindred around, from one of the Crusades. I don't know which. Before my time, of course.
And obviously before my time, sir.
So, the main reason, though, I want you to reach out to this Grigori and integrate with him if you can. I've noticed that he has been making some interesting connections of late. A good friend of his, someone who I have worked with in the past, a Toreador by the name of Bluebird. She makes bespoke experiences for the discerning client. Unfortunately, Miss Bluebird seems to have gone missing at a most inconvenient time. I was going to reach out to her because she has been making connections to someone I would very much like to be on the good side of as well. A Malkavian by the name of Bronwyn. She owns a jazz club in the city, the Blue Velvet. The jazz club, of course, a front for organized feeding for kindred such as ourselves. Bronwyn herself is ridiculously difficult to pin down, so the fact that dear Bluebird has been able to do it meant that I wanted to ingratiate myself with her. However, unfortunately, she appears to have gone missing. There was a rather unpleasant fire in her haven a day or two ago. No confirmation on death, of course, but I want you to assist Mr. Syracuse in any and all attempts at recovering Miss Bluebird. I want her to be grateful and alive, and I want her contacts to be our contacts. The reason... I suppose I can tell you the reason for this. No, I don't think I will, actually.
Understandable, sir.
Is there anything else that you require from me for the evening? You have been fed, you have been taken care of, yes?
There is one issue, and that would be lodging. I mean,
Oh, no issue at all. That was already taken care of. I have a delightful little apartment picked out for you. Beautiful area and everything. You will love it.
I am most grateful, sir.
Good. I'm also going to have Selena take care of you for the rest of the evening. Although do bring her back in one piece. Selena is on loan to me from a friend in Greece. Very influential friend. Have you ever heard the name Anushinrawan? For you, Edward, I would say again, academics and intelligence difficulty of 3, because this isn't a common name, but it is a big name in Ventrue circles. Not a fucking clue, son. Not a fucking clue. Who? Gazoon Tights.
I'm sorry. I am unfortunately not aware of that individual, though. From the way you speak of them, they must be very, very important.
Oh dear boy, they really are. So, the fact that she saw fit to loan me one of her ghouls is no small thing. The reason I am showing you this is I am now loaning her to you. And this is no small thing either. I want to emphasize the fact, my dear boy, that I am trusting you, an as yet untested brother Ventrue, with something very serious. I want Sovereign taken care of. I want Bluebird and her connections in my lap. And I want you to succeed. Nay, I want you to excel. And I am willing to spend great favors in order to get it done. If you succeed, you will be rewarded handsomely. I don't think I need to go into details about failure.
Do understand that there is a lot at stake.
Ooh.
He puts a lot of emphasis on the word stake in this case.
Delightful choice of words. I would say at this point, you probably didn't even notice, but She was basically standing right behind you, which is a surprising feat for a mortal.
Oh.
Well, shall we? Is there anything else that you require of us, sir? No, I think we have everything we need. Unless there is anything you wish to ask, you will find me an open book, DuChamp. Please, ask away.
As of right now, I do not know. I have had quite the travels behind me, so please forgive me if I do not come with the questions at hand that I might have. Though I'm certain that you will find a spot in case I ever have questions that I humbly ask you to answer.
Of course, I am but a call away. In the meantime, if you have any requirements, just speak with Selena. And until then, I do wish you a good evening. It's about time for my next meal. And he leans forward and he rings this tiny little bell. Literally just a little ding-a-ling-a-ling type bell that's by his desk. And you see the other end of the boardroom that you guys are in opens up, and you see a small crew of people that were left earlier. They've come in, and there's a whole new section, a large series of trolleys that are groaning under the weight of something that is covered by large, expensive-looking silverware. Until then, good night. And you are ushered out.
And bon appetit.
Mm-hmm. Just for the fun of it, would you please give me an awareness and wits, difficulty 3?
1 second, please. Difficulty. Because I'm also running everything on one monitor.
Technology is wonderful, isn't it? Oh, 3 successes. Yeah, just as the door clicks behind you, I would say you may or may not have heard a coming from somewhere in that room. But anyway.
Oh, it appears he likes his meals rather fresh.
Mr. Ballard's feeding preferences are not your concern, Mr. DuChamp.
Of course not, of course not.
Follow me, please.
Very well.
Mm-hmm. So, what was it you were going to say?
And nothing. Really.
Okay.
It was just making a quip because, fresh food. Yeah.
So, you make your way downstairs. You are led to the car. Sunil says to you, is this the vehicle you would prefer, or would you prefer a company car?
I kind of do like my own car. And Edward opens the driver's side door for her because I assume you know where this apartment of mine is, so I would greatly appreciate if you could take me there.
Indeed, that is why I am here. She makes her way inside, moves her long legs out of the way, basically gets in, and heads off into the night. I would say you are eventually taken to an apartment that you may imagine and describe as your leisure. It's pretty much exactly what you would expect. It's not terrible. It's fairly simple, minimalist, but expensive. Comfortable. Well insulated. In a fairly decent part of town. Not ridiculously high-end, but good enough for now. Is there any final thing that Edward will do before we wrap things up for the evening?
He opens the door, lets obviously her his ghoul on loan inside.
Mm-hmm.
Please make yourself comfortable.
I will not be spending the night here. Well, unless you wish me to. She arches an eyebrow. I believe you prefer blondes, but I can dye my hair, I suppose.
No, that will not be necessary. I'm just trying to be a good host.
The attempt is appreciated, sir. And she will remove the jacket and rest on the leather couch. So, is there anything that you require? Any further services?
No, I think I will get settled, and if there is anything, yes, I would need one thing.
Of course.
I mean to contact you in case you are needed elsewhere, which
Indeed.
I do understand.
I can do that. She reaches into a small case that she has, and she pulls out a brand new, luxurious looking cell phone. Make sure you do not lose this. This is the best way to get in touch with myself. And of course, do not call Mr. Ballard directly. You do not know Mr. Ballard. You have never met Mr. Ballard.
Who is Mr. Ballard?
Exactly. Eventually, you will be presented to the prince, and all the relevant paperwork will be done. Once that has been taken care of, we will meet this Mr. Syracuse. You will go and locate this bluebird, and your work for Mr. Ballard will begin in earnest. Until then, I wish you the best with the rest of your evening. If you require food, that is something you will have to provide yourself. Again, I am told to inform you that I am available should you require anything. I am not your usual. I know you have a particular taste, but should you require assistance in any other way, please let me know.
I will. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night.
So, you are left. New home and a new start in a new city. How does Edward feel about how things have gone so far for him?
There still is a very strong element of what one would consider butt clenching.
Does Edward feel that he is now in a position where he can release that? Or does he still feel like he is right in the middle of the firing line?
He is starting to relax a little over the time of the rest of the evening. But yeah, he starts out very, very tense, and during the course of the night, where he flips through the television programs, he figures out, no, seems like I'm not in immediate danger.
Final thing we'll say before we close off. You do, before you shut it down for good, you do get a message on your old phone. It is a number that you recognize since you only recently added it from your evening dalliance in Indianapolis. Heading to Chicago in about a month. Hope to see you there.
Responding.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing the two of you again.
And with that, I think we will bring this Vampire the Masquerade story to a close for now. Oh wow, and at that point, that's when the music slowly starts to stutter out. Okay. I think that was actually the longest one. That one got to about 3 hours there. So, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, you know that I'm somewhat of a theatre kid, even though I've never been a theatre kid.
Oh yeah, a big thanks to anybody who stayed through that. I do apologize again, Sirenscape. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, certain tracks, it gets to a certain point, and then recently the audio, it just garbles. It just collapses. I genuinely don't know what the issue is there. It might be because it's going through the Sirenscape browser instead of the app. I might switch back to the app for the next one and we'll see if that works. If not, I might have to start doing the music inside Foundry. I'd rather not, because I love some of the options and everything that I get from Sirenscape. Again, I pay for these super subscriptions, so there's a lot of really cool stuff you can get. It's just, unfortunately, the system that I'm working with at the moment, there's only so much that I can really do with what I'm working with. But all that having been said, that minor grievance aside, I hope that was entertaining. Again, Indianapolis, I genuinely was only going to do that as a brief flyby section. I didn't think that was going to be as much of a thing as it was, and if I had thought of that, I would have had a few things, because yeah, Indianapolis, much like Gary, there's a lot of content there that you could have a whole campaign in just Indianapolis, and there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on, as Edward may have noticed. A lot of strange things on the outskirts. I wonder what's going on there. And we also had a nice little teaser for Gary. If Canada is America's hat, Gary is the ass of Chicago, or the toilet of Chicago. I think that's fair, at least in the terms of World of Darkness. I think that's a reasonable description, at least how Gary is presented in these stories. So,
yeah, where Chicago covers up the muck and filth with shiny metal and glass, Gary just shows it on its face.
Fair. But yes, I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. The next story that we're going to be doing is going to be involving Celia, the fledgling La Sombra who was found by our crew. Technically, just a day or two ago, at least in terms of game time. I don't have an exact date for that one off the top of my head. I know it's written down somewhere, but you know me in my show notes. But for now, thank you so much for watching. It has been a genuine pleasure. Be good to yourselves. Be safe, be well. And I will hopefully be... I will have a bit more information about other games that I plan on running in the near future. So, if that is something that interests you, hopefully by then I will have fixed some of the technical issues that I am having with Sirenscape. On the bright side, I will say this before I hang up, on the bright side, the awful audio I'm getting on this end is not going to happen for you, the player, because, quick question for my dear DeCork, your music is not cutting out or garbled or anything, is it?
No. I mean, I got it straight from their servers.
Yeah.
Whereas you basically sent the commands to their servers, and then they sent the music back. It's basically just double the stuff that's happening there on that connection.
So,
but regarding your things, where could someone find you on the fine interwebs?
Oh, thank you. Yes, of course. Yes, you can find me for the next week before the whole thing explodes. Twitter.com/Devillo, or I'm at Devillo. That's where I'm most active at the moment. I do have an Instagram. It exists. I do need to update it a little bit. That's going to be at Dennis Illustration. The Lunar Blaze Patreon is going to be eventually the place where you're going to get a lot more information about not just the live games that I'm going to be running, the paid games, but a couple of other projects that I do in the meantime, including self-published D&D adventures, potentially I might be looking into doing some writing for other World of Darkness games on Storyteller Vault at some point in the distant future, but my free time is deeply contested and limited, so we'll see what happens there in the future. But also, Linktree is Dennis' illustration with a whole host of other links for you to check out. In the meantime, I think that's pretty much it. You all be good to yourselves and follow Dennis DeVillo on Twitter for updates about when the next session is going to go live. Till then, be safe, be well, and have yourselves a fantastic... Whoops. Really? Really? There we go.
Now at the end, yeah.
Thank you and good night.